God said to Moses, "When I see the blood, I will pass over you."
We've never seen holidays quite like this. This is the InsideEdition.com coronavirus news for April 9th, 2020. Passover and Easter are here, but with much of the world under stay-at-home orders, the spring holidays are looking very different. Families are observing social distancing as they observe the holidays.
I'm no Moses, but I can assure you, keeping social distancing, even at the expense of having limited people at the Seder table, is now one of the 10 Commandments.
Passover Seders are being held through Zoom and FaceTime.
You know, I think this is a first. This is a first.
In my 73 years, I have never not been at a family Seder.
The coronavirus has tweaked Easter traditions as well. A bakery in Greece made chocolate Easter bunnies, of course, wearing PPE. As did a bakery in France and a bakery in Switzerland. New Zealand's Prime Minister had some news for families who celebrate Easter.
You'll be pleased to know that we do consider both the Tooth Fairy and the Easter Bunny to be essential workers. I say to the children of New Zealand, if the Easter Bunny doesn't make it to your household, then we have to understand that it's a bit difficult at the moment for the bunny to perhaps get everywhere.
A church in Wisconsin held Palm Sunday services that looked more like a drive-in movie.
This is what we came up with, drive-in church.
It's awesome. I wish we could do this all the time.
The response has been better attendance than our regular attendance.
You can bring your dog, have your coffee, eat breakfast in the car.
But a priest in the Philippines managed to hold in-person Holy Thursday services in spite of the country's lockdown. He even washed the feet of his parishioners. An exception was made for the service, which was held for the homeless.
The homeless are here to give witness as a reminder that such people exist, and they should never be forgotten, most especially in this time of pandemic.
On a lighter note, meerkats at the London Zoo, mindless of the pandemic, observed Easter with their traditional egg hunt. The Islamic holiday of Ramadan begins later this month, and Muslims around the world will be forced to modify their observance to stay safe. The coronavirus continues to extract its toll. Johns Hopkins reports approximately 432,000 cases of COVID-19 in the U.S. and nearly 15,000 deaths. The pandemic has underscored the importance of traditions and community.
I actually think the story of Passover is a story of survival and getting through all the struggles and being able to, get past all the tragedy and the plagues.
Here's more coronavirus coverage from the InsideEdition.com team.
Sorry, just busy eating matzah, for 8 days and 8 nights. You can't have any leavened bread. Last night was our first Zoom Seder, and it was really great to have my entire family all together under one roof, including my mom, who doesn't use a phone or a computer at all. And somehow she was able to Zoom into our Passover Seder. We added a few new things this year. There are 10 plagues, but this year there were 11. And then there's part of the ceremony where you do the washing of the hands, and usually we skip that. But this year we actually did the washing of the hands because it was quite important. And I was the youngest at my Seder, so I had to read the 4 questions. And I didn't have one of the prayer books that we normally use called a Haggadah, so I had to use a cell phone to read them off of. But I think I still did a pretty good job. It was a really nice Seder, and I'm glad that we could all be together under these circumstances. But you know what they say, next year, in person.
And in times of crisis, people sometimes brace for the worst. Inside Edition's Les Trent explores.
The scenes unfolding before us have some believing we are approaching the end of times. According to Google Trends, there has been a huge spike in searches about the apocalypse in the United States in the last week. It's not just the COVID-19 pandemic. Some folks are pointing to other recent events of, shall we say, biblical proportions. Volcanic eruptions in New Zealand.
No.
A plague of locusts in East Africa. And epic wildfires in Australia that really did look like hell on earth. Are all these signs of a biblical prophecy that the apocalypse is close at hand? That's what some folks believe.
I'm not scared of the apocalypse or things like that because I know in the end what's going to happen.
Shemaine Webster is a devout Christian. She believes the COVID-19 pandemic is a message from God.
I have a lot of faith in God's plans and His purposes.
But Columbia University religion professor Ari Goldman says the end of the world is about as real as the zombie apocalypse show The Walking Dead. He points out that talk of the apocalypse frequently comes up during worldwide crises.
Some of our worst fears and worst predictions sort of occupy us and take over our rational thinking.
For more on the coronavirus pandemic, be sure to visit InsideEdition.com.